I was born in Johannesburg at Santon Mediclinic. I lived in Joburg for the first 2 years of my life before moving to the northeastern section of South Africa in a little town called the White River. And the reason for the move was for work opportunities for my mother as well as my father. I think it comes from my family. You know, the little town White River bordered the Kruger National Park, so we often visited the Kruger National Park. My mother was also very involved in the lodge industry, so we got to visit a lot of lodges, spent many weekends at lodges. So I think ever since I can remember, I've really had this deep passion for wildlife. My older brother was also a guide for a number of years, so I think seeing what he was doing instilled a lot in me and was one of the big reasons why I became a full-time guide. So how long have I been guiding for? It's been about close to 13 years now. Tough question to answer. It would have to be something outdoors. I love the outdoors. I wouldn't be able to sit in the city behind a computer from 8 to 5 every day, all day, all year round. So I'd probably be doing something on a farm, I would think, maybe a fly fishing guide or running a fly fishing resort, something along those lines. Quite an easy one for me to answer. I would love to take Kevin Hart on safari. The reason is I absolutely love his sense of humor. He's my favorite actor, and I also find him quite inspirational. I follow him obviously on social media, and he seems like a great guy to take on safari. Another easy answer, pizza. Absolutely love pizza. Would eat it all day, every day, but then obviously my gym work would be all for nothing. I'd have to go with Kevin Hart again and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Firstly, I love the interaction between the two of them, but I also find The Rock very motivational. Once again, follow him on social media. I think he's a great inspiration to many. Thirdly would be my favorite golfer, Rory McIlroy. I'd love to be able just to sit down and have a chat with him about golf. And lastly, probably most importantly, I would love to have Nelson Mandela at the dinner table. I think he had such a huge impact on South Africa, and I think he was a massive inspiration to millions of South Africans, and I think his legacy will live on for a number of years. So those would be my 4 guests at the dinner table. It's a difficult one to choose. We're fortunate in that we get to visit a lot of different destinations. I think I would have to go with the Sabi Sands. Although we see some incredible destinations, the Sabi Sands to me always feels like home. I worked there for a number of years, and there's just something very unique and special about returning to the Sabi Sands. Would have to be a leopard. I'm sure many people would have the same answer. I find them absolutely beautiful animals, shy and elusive by nature. One of the first areas that I worked at, we could easily go 3 weeks without seeing a leopard. And sometimes our leopard sightings would consist of a leopard running across the road 50 meters in front of us, and that was it. So moving to the Sabi Sands, I really had an appreciation for leopards. And like I said, shy and elusive nature. I think any time you get to spend with them and photograph them is an absolute privilege. I think the first few weeks were quite difficult to get a handle on, staying at home 24/7, not seeing anyone other than family. It had been quite tricky, but I think it's also important to look at the positive side of things. I know I've mentioned it in a few other recordings that I've done. It's allowed me time to reflect on previous guiding years and go through some older images and relive some special moments on safari. I think it's also a good time to sit back and look at myself. I think we don't do that enough. I think with life in general, it's so busy and we're constantly on the go, we don't always get the opportunity to really focus on ourselves and understand where we are and what our goals for the future are. So week 7, I'm feeling pretty good and strong still. I'm sure it'll continue, but just remembering every day when I get up that there is positivity in it. This won't go on forever, but as long as it does, just to remain positive and try and have a positive influence on those around me.